In a distant land far removed from our modern world, nestled amongst rolling hills and ancient forests, King Hiero ruled with splendor, his name whispered with respect and a touch of awe throughout the kingdom. His court was renowned for its elegance, his judgments for their wisdom. And King Hiero loved magnificent things. He reveled in the beauty of artistry and craftsmanship, surrounding himself with objects of exquisite design and unparalleled value. One day, desiring a symbol of his power and refined taste, he commissioned a new crown, a masterpiece that would reflect his reign's glory. He summoned the most skilled goldsmith in the land, entrusting him with a precise amount of pure gold, carefully weighed and measured, to craft it. The gold was of the highest quality, sourced from the kingdom's richest mines. After weeks of meticulous work, the finished crown was presented to the king. It was dazzling, a radiant testament to the goldsmith's skill. It was heavy, a substantial weight of precious metal. Every detail was perfect, every curve and facet flawlessly executed. It seemed perfect, yet despite its beauty and apparent perfection, a seed of suspicion crept into the king's mind, a nagging doubt that he couldn't shake. Was it truly pure gold as he had ordered and paid for? Or had the goldsmith, tempted by greed, cheated him, replacing some of the gold with a less valuable metal? The king couldn't simply cut or melt the crown to check its composition. Such an act would destroy the very masterpiece he had commissioned. Its beauty had to remain intact, its artistic integrity preserved. He desperately needed a way to test its purity, to ascertain the truth, without causing any damage to the exquisite piece. The dilemma weighed heavily on him, casting a shadow over his joy in the new crown. The very foundation of trust and the sanctity of royal honor were at stake. The implications of dishonesty could ripple through the entire kingdom. Pacing his halls, lost in thought, the king realized he couldn't solve this puzzle alone. He needed help. He needed the insight of someone with a sharp, inventive mind, someone capable of thinking outside the box. This wasn't just about gold. It was about something far more profound. It was about upholding truth and justice, ensuring fairness for all his subjects. In his kingdom, the integrity of his rule depended on it. The mystery of the crown demanded a solution, a clever and ingenious approach. The king, with renewed determination, resolved to seek out the wisest problem solver in his realm, a person of exceptional intellect and unwavering honesty. Only a brilliant mind, capable of unraveling the most complex enigmas, could uncover the truth hidden within the crown's gleaming surface. The stage was set for a legendary investigation, a quest for truth that would test the limits of ingenuity and shape the course of the kingdom. In the same kingdom, nestled amidst the sun-drenched shores and bustling marketplaces of ancient Syracuse, a different kind of legend was taking shape. This was a realm where intellectual prowess was as valued as military might, and where the pursuit of knowledge was considered a noble endeavor. Lived Archimedes, a name that would echo through the ages, synonymous with brilliance and innovation. He was famed throughout the land for his unparalleled genius and insatiable curiosity, a mind that constantly sought to unravel the mysteries of the universe. His workshop was a sanctuary of scientific exploration, filled with intricate diagrams, meticulously crafted models, and the tools of a true inventor. People from all walks of life brought him their most perplexing puzzles, seeking his wisdom and insight. Farmers, merchants, and even fellow scholars would line up at his door, eager to tap into his extraordinary intellect. And more often than not, he found ingenious answers, solutions that defied conventional wisdom and pushed the boundaries of human understanding. His inventions were legendary, his mathematical theorems groundbreaking, and his reputation as a problem solver unmatched. So it was that King Hiero, a ruler known for his shrewdness and his concern for the well-being of his kingdom, found himself in a predicament, desperate for answers that only a mind like Archimedes could provide. He summoned Archimedes to the royal palace, a grand edifice that stood as a symbol of power and authority. With a heavy heart, the king presented the crown, a magnificent piece of royal regalia crafted from what was believed to be the purest gold. He then confided in Archimedes, explaining his growing suspicion, a nagging doubt that threatened to undermine the very foundation of his trust. Was it truly pure gold, as the royal goldsmith had assured him? Or had the goldsmith, driven by greed, secretly mixed it with something cheaper, something less precious, like silver or copper? "I need you to solve this riddle, Archimedes," the king implored, his voice filled with a mixture of hope and anxiety. "But you must not harm the crown in any way. It is a symbol of our kingdom, and it must remain intact." Archimedes accepted the challenge, his keen eyes carefully examining the crown. He carefully assessed its weight, feeling the heft of the precious metal in his hands. He admired its exquisite craftsmanship, the intricate details that spoke of the goldsmith's skill and artistry. The challenge was clear, and the stakes were high. To devise a method to test the crown's purity without altering it, without melting it down or damaging its delicate form. He pondered the inherent properties of gold, its density, its malleability, its unique characteristics that set it apart from other metals. But destructive tests were out of the question, leaving him with a seemingly impossible task. The king's trust, the kingdom's honor, and perhaps even the goldsmith's fate all depended on Archimedes' ability to find a solution. With a nod of acceptance, Archimedes embraced the task, knowing that it would require all of his ingenuity and resourcefulness. His mind was already racing, a whirlwind of ideas and possibilities swirling within him. He knew this was more than just a test of gold. It was a test of his own abilities, a challenge to his reputation as the greatest mind of his time. It was a test of intellect, a battle of wits against a seemingly insurmountable problem. The weight of the problem, the weight of expectation, now rested squarely on his shoulders, a burden he willingly accepted. With the crown safely in his possession, he left the palace, stepping out into the bustling streets of Syracuse. His face was set with determination, his mind focused on the task ahead, determined to find a way to unravel the mystery of the crown. The fate of the crown, and perhaps the reputation, or even the life of the goldsmith, hung precariously in the balance, awaiting Archimedes' judgment. But Archimedes, the brilliant mind of Syracuse, was ready for the challenge, ready to apply his genius to solve the king's perplexing problem. Archimedes took the crown home, deep in thought for days. He considered gold's properties, color, malleability, resistance to tarnish, but none offered a non-destructive test. The real question, was the crown's weight made up of pure gold or a mix? He remembered that different materials have different densities. Gold is denser than silver. If silver was mixed in, the crown would be bulkier for the same weight. But how to measure its volume without melting it? One day, seeking a break, Archimedes stepped into a full bathtub. As he sank in, water spilled over the edge. Suddenly, he realized the water displaced equaled the volume of his body. The simple act of bathing revealed the answer. Volume could be measured by water displacement. The solution to the king's problem was right in front of him. In that instant, Archimedes connected the rising bathwater to the crown's mystery. He understood that an object displaces its own volume of water when submerged. If the crown was pure gold, it would displace the same amount of water as an equal weight lump of gold. If it was mixed with a lighter metal, it would displace more water. Overjoyed, Archimedes reportedly ran through the streets shouting, "Eureka! I have found it." He now had a non-destructive test. Compare the water displaced by the crown and by pure gold of the same weight. If the volumes differed, the crown was not pure. The answer was simple, brilliant, and ready to be tested. Archimedes, a man of meticulous detail, prepared his experiment with the utmost care. He understood the weight of the task before him, the implications it held for the king and the goldsmith. Every tool, every vessel, every measurement had to be perfect. To establish a baseline, he obtained a lump of pure gold, ensuring its purity was beyond question. This gold would serve as the standard against which the crown would be judged. He carefully weighed the gold, precisely matching the crown's weight. This was crucial. Any discrepancy in weight would invalidate the entire experiment. The scales had to be perfectly balanced. Next, he selected 2 identical containers, ensuring they were made of the same material and were of the exact same size and shape. These containers were then meticulously filled to the brim with water, right to the point of overflowing. Any difference in the water level would introduce error. First, with steady hands, he submerged the pure gold lump into one of the water-filled containers, watching as the water level rose and then overflowed. He carefully collected and measured the water displaced by the gold, capturing every last drop. This measurement was critical. This precise measurement set the standard for pure gold's volume, a benchmark against which the crown's volume would be compared. Next, with anticipation building, he would test the crown in the exact same way, using the second container filled to the brim. The underlying scientific principle was clear: density dictates displacement. Because gold is inherently dense, so a kilogram of gold occupies a specific volume. Conversely, a less dense metal like silver, for example, takes up more space. A kilogram of silver has a larger volume than a kilogram of gold. Therefore, if the crown was indeed pure gold and nothing but, then it would displace the exact same amount of water as the lump of pure gold he had already tested. However, if the crown contained silver or another less dense metal, it would displace more water than the pure gold. Every detail mattered immensely. Precision was absolutely key to uncovering the truth and delivering justice. The experiment itself was remarkably simple in its execution, relying on basic principles of physics, but the implications of its outcome were absolutely huge, potentially exposing deceit and impacting the kingdom's trust. With all preparations complete, Archimedes was ready to reveal the truth, to unveil whether the goldsmith had been honest or had betrayed the king's trust. The stage was meticulously set, the instruments calibrated for the crown's ultimate and definitive test. Soon, science would speak louder than any suspicion or accusation, revealing the truth about the crown's composition. Archimedes carefully submerged the crown, gently placing it in the water, watching the water rise with great interest. He compared the displaced water, carefully noting the levels, to that from the pure gold lump. Both objects weighed the same, precisely, but the crown displaced more water. This meant the crown had a larger volume, proof it wasn't pure gold. The goldsmith had mixed in a lighter metal, cheating the king. Archimedes' method exposed the deception without harming the crown. The answer was clear, thanks to science and a keen mind. The king's suspicion was confirmed. The truth had been revealed by water. Archimedes returned to the palace, eager to share his discovery. He explained how water displacement revealed the crown's secret. Demonstrating the experiment, he showed the king the undeniable proof. "Your Majesty, the crown is not pure gold. It's mixed with a lighter metal." The king was amazed by the simplicity and brilliance of the solution. Science had uncovered the truth and delivered justice. This story is a classic example of the scientific method in action. The tale of the king, the crown, and the bathtub lives on as a testament to human ingenuity. So, can you name the real-life scientist who shouted Eureka and the king he served? Think about it. The answer is a piece of history.